Okay, let's see if I can do this without destroying my hopes of ever being monetized. You know him, you love him, everyone's favorite silver medalist in the first and only Jujutsu Kaisen Daddy Olympics, Kento Nanami. Unfortunately, just like your actual dad, he's not coming home. This video isn't about that though. This is about arguably the hardest scene in Jujutsu Kaisen history. This is about the stiff strikes, the deeply penetrating, bespectacled gaze, and the BCE, the big cursed energy.
Stop it.
Like, wait a why are you? Nanami versus Haruta is pure hype. Anytime the homie shows up, hands will be thrown in a vicious fashion, and this time was no different. As Haruta was beating up on everyone's favorite traveling hammer salesman, in comes Nanami for the save. He's seen the bullshit Haruta has been doing, the trail of bodies, and the joy he's taking in being a miserable sack of trash filled with the contents of a latrine at Talladega Speedway, and he's had enough. So Haruta tries some classic anime villain banter while failing to understand that he's entered a reverse boss fight. And borrowing a phrase from one of my favorite YouTubers, Nanami proceeds to educate Haruta about his place in the bigger picture. Now, at the time, I didn't know the Olympian heights that Season 2 would reach, but looking back, this was like a perfect indicator. This was definitely a jump off the couch into a Batista pose situation. However, after the first punch, I immediately felt weird. I mean, it was certainly still hype and completely awesome, but I've got to be honest, my main thought became, hey, is he gonna fuck this guy? As soon as I saw this when the episodes were coming out weekly, I knew that if I had a channel, I'd make a video about it. Now, all of the thirsty Nanami heads aside, the way this scene is framed is they know what they're doing. Something that I might end up making a video on if I can do it in a way that doesn't get the FBI raiding my apartment is how anime distinguishes between the ages of their characters. For example, Gojo is an adult, but Nanami is a man. There's a clear difference. Toji is also a man, but in a different way, and we're not talking about felony Riz right now. Part of this is purely the animation. Gojo has more androgynous features, while Nanami's features are purposefully very masculinized. Part of this also is the portrayal of the characters. Of course, Gojo is goofy, but even when serious, even when completely outclassing his opponent, there's a difference. Very quickly, I have to point out some things that are simply true. Haruta, submissive and breedable Shigemo, is clearly a feminine character. Personally, I would go further. We're in full bratty femboy territory. Nanami is also never more archetypically masculine than in this scene. Partially because he never gets the opportunity.
Oh my god.
Nanami walks up quietly and confidently, taking off his belt, tie, and making commands to Haruta. They aren't questions and aren't framed as questions. Look at how Nanami looms over Haruta here. In like 5 seconds of Googling, I found out that Nanami is 6 feet tall. Gojo is 6'3", who shares that height with Aoi Todo. I, personally, am 6 feet tall, maybe 6'1". So this is all in the camera work. This is purely presence, control, and dominance. Even Haruta's musculature looks diminished here, while Nanami looks absolutely enormous. After Haruta has poked and prodded Dadami, I said Nanami.
Get out!
Now, after Haruta has poked and prodded Nanami, he gets what he wanted. Punishment for being a bad boy.
Harder, Daddy!
And come on, hand close-ups with multiple hand veins? Like I said, the animators knew what they were doing. After the first strike, we get the infamous pose. If you pause or slow it down, Haruta is about to get to his feet before Nanami grabs him by his extremely convenient ponytail to keep him on his knees, or perhaps to put him in a convenient position. Dadami didn't tell you to move. Get back on your knees.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
then seriously, just look at Haruta's eyes as they are first on Nanami's suspicious crotch bulge before moving up. Datami gives him some firm and aggressive dirty talk before destroying his guts. Clearly, Haruta likes it rough and he hasn't used a safe word yet, so Datami grabs him by... Clearly, Haruta likes it rough, and he hasn't used a safe word yet, so Datami grabs him by the throat for some advanced breath play before we get a face some degenerate Coomers will know well enough. Now, remove the blood in your mind, I guess, or maybe even replace it with another bodily fluid, and look at this face. What does it look like?
Oh my god!
I'm just gonna come as hard as I can.
Finally, Haruta apologizes for being a dirty boy, and Datami finishes him off. Okay, to clean up, I don't actually think the animators were doing some sort of secret fetish content. I think that framing this confrontation and fight in a vaguely sexual manner through some of what I said here simply served to make it more exciting and cathartic. It also made it more brutal. For examples of this, watch Benicio del Toro in Sicario during the interrogation scene. Or back to anime, an Overlord when Eins or Go crushes Clementine to death in a bear hug. I won't be showing any clips of that because, honestly, it's extremely brutal and probably would put the demonetization death knell on this video. The animation in JJK and in anime in general versus Western animation does so much with the direction and with how they decide to animate certain things, and personally, it makes me enjoy and respect the art form even more. Now, if there are any ladies watching, please mop yourselves up. I'll see you fine folks next time. Datami. Dadana. Datami. Dadana. Yeah. Let's go with Datami.